good right here. Thank you.
We'll take cash too.
So this is a pearl. This is and if you look at this picture, this is done by Jimmy Pena, who had his shows 100 portraits in a year that he did, and they were showed in here. And this was in 2018, I believe it was. And so this is portrait of me. So on the cover of Pearl, this book. So I'm going to start off with this first one. It's called That Asteroid. That asteroid burns through the atmosphere, blazes and scorches the air, plummets in the Gulf of Mexico near Yucatan, like no other cannonball slamming the silted bottom, throwing steam and clay into the sky, like no other hydrogen bomb. The tsunami follows that shockwave, killing off anything that's still alive. 76 million years ago. The lingering stench long dissipated, only the bones and fossils left. We've tapped with long drill bits that mulch layer of black muck we call oil, roughneck refined, that motors us about, choking the world, to best an ancient rock that broke open the watered earth. Indeed, all our acts are another repercussion of that asteroid. So I don't know, after I retired, whatever you do, don't ever start retirement like I did. I went to the emergency room, was in the hospital for a week on the first day of retirement. I had typhus, pneumonia, and AFib, and I'm lucky to be here, really. And I really want to shout out to my wife, Susan, because she was there through thick and thin the whole time of that. And so I'm going to read this poem, 27 Julio, 2015, Valladolid. I would rather be armless, holding you in my sight, or breathless, turning blue for my star tonight. Car crash, painfully dazed, restless on a lonely night. A body blow I will take, if I can make you smile. Hear your laugh, walk a few miles. Believe me when I do, it's for life. You're my wife. Susan, bright daylight of my world. When we have time, you're 25. I'm better now. That ain't saying much. You roll your eyes. I've been touched. I say the most grandiose to hear your laugh echo down halls. I was thinking about not reading this, but I think I will read this. So I took a class with Barbara Riley, who is also retired faculty at Texas A&M Corpus Christi, and she's a photographer. So I took this class, and then she had this really great show here, 2018. They're all in 2018. And so she kind of put in two different ideas and styles of photography at her new location up at Canyon Lake. And so she asked me to write a part in her catalog. So I wrote about a page essay, and then I just broke into this poem there. So part of her things were about the muses, and she brings in the muses, these frostweed, and she names them after each muse. And then she had all these other ones too about building a cabin out in the woods for her new art space. So this is called Invocation for Barbara Riley. O daughters of thunderbolt and language memory, your wooded wonders saturated periphery, news obliterate. In plein air, camera nature morte, maelstrom, landscape of heath health, polymania belief, hear our plea. Montage photo silverleaf, moss stone gravesite double steps in Tennessee. Irado, Giotto, polluted Clio, deep state, Mount Helicon, terpsichore, dithyrambic, Uranian freight, Thalia, darling, crystal method, calliope, frostweed muses, bunny, badger, deer, Hassad, Cyril, tree, Euterpe, laurel wreath, pillow talk, cardinal, fawn, Melipomene, cactus, death mask, Longhorn chaos, Eden cabin trait. Oh, Henry David Journal Thunderstorm, Painter Mullen, Walden, Holler Creek, birds talk to me, built newness, discovered time, natural pigment process, UV black and white, 40-watt caliphate, rooster coffee everywhere morning, bedroom sound, direction ziffer to synergy, same time absurdity, shutter photo apogee. Thank you. So this is looking at 2020. I'm going to read only one poem out of my first collection, American History, and this came out in 2017. It's kind of funny, when I was looking at what to read, I was like thinking, oh, I'm going to read this poem on this page, and then I started looking at this one and I go, no, this is really the poem you need to read. It's called Have You Seen My Brother? Have you seen my brother? Dying, some have gasped to say, now becomes the powder keg lover. What house built smother? We 3 sons ran far away. Have you seen my broken brother? Colonel tried to kill us and our mother. Blood dues our language love pays. From him, the powder keg lover. Scotch and fists have another. Bagpipe records, great night from day. Have you stopped wandering yet, my brother? My brother's own alcoholic time and druthers beckons back the black and blue jay to the nest of the powder king keg lover. Barefoot jig between crossed sword blades and cover, nose bleeds onto Rib Scout sweatshirt to stay. I conjured up my 16-year-old brother in the vice grip of the powder keg lover. My brother, this December 26th will be 20 years of sobriety, so it's really great. All right, I'm moving on to the next book. This one came out last November, Snake, Woman, Moon, the Avebury Bride Cycle. Avebury is a Neolithic site just 25 miles north of Stonehenge, but it covers a mass of about 30 miles radius, or not radius, about circumference, I guess, of all these different things in there. There's the double henge that are much bigger than Stonehenge, and an outer circle, and all kinds of stuff, and then there's like these. Oh, across southern England, I'm going to, just a little bit of brief information. There are these 2 energy lines called the Michael and Mary line. And in Avebury themselves, they cross 3 times. In the henge itself, Windmill Hill, and the sanctuary. So these poems are about my experience there, and then I try to kind of invoke what it would be like to live during that time. So this one, I'm only going to read one poem from this, but this is the only poem from the collection that's from one of the stones' point of view. Now, when I met some people there, they had these divinity rods, you know, divination rods, you know, like you trying to find water, those type of things. They were like going up and seeing like genders, telling what gender the stone was. And so it was just kind of like, wow, okay, that's weird, all right? And I wasn't too sure, but you know, it's like, okay, you're faking this stuff or something. But I saw 2 different people go up over this font in a church, and the baptismal font, and they put the rod there and they twirled 365 degrees. They kept twirling until they walked away. And I saw that 2 different people, 2 different times during that, and I said, okay, something's going on here. So this is called West Kennett Avenue. She stood as stone, unbudging, weathered, still sharp, ripped from the earth, dragged miles from her mother lode, propped up against her will, matched with a skinny stone 20 feet apart for 5,000 years, till stone killer Tom Robinson came, roped her mate, burned him alive. When she was young, they danced beside her, thrice around her, blessed with wreaths of hawthorn. Weeks passed, a blink of time, withered on her shoulders, the fall of nothing. But seasons passed, forgotten, until one day he came, dancing himself in new form, touching, kissing my flanks, calling my name, long forgotten, warmer than the sun. His arms wrapped me, a moment too short, too late. Then he was gone again to greet another down the avenue. So this is my newest book here, When I Wear Bob Kaufman's Eyes, that came out 2 weeks ago. So Bob Kaufman, this is his book is a complete collection of his poems. He died in 1986, and but I was published with him in that April, and our birthdays are a day apart. And so when I have an essay in here after I read this collection in 2020 in January, and because I've known Bob Kaufman or about him for like 35 years, 36 years, and I've been teaching his work too for a long time. So when you look at this cover here, I took this picture myself of me jumping off a dumpster in the alleyway just out here. So that KS is kspace. That's what that's for. The reason I did that was because I really love this. This was a tribute to Bob Kaufman from 1989. Would You Wear My Eyes? It's one of his most famous poems. And here's Bob Kaufman jumping off a dumpster. And so this was where I got the impetus about the idea. And it's kind of like, at first I thought, oh, well, he's dumpster diving, because he was living on the street quite a bit of his time, but there's other people in the dumpster when you look at this, and so it was something else. But I love the idea of him in flight, you know? So there's the essay in here plus the poems. But I'm going to start off with the title poem. Bob Kaufman was like a multi-time surreal poet. He was African-American, born in New Orleans and died in San Francisco. He was a merchant seaman and a union man, but he was confronted by the police many times. The French called him the Black Rimbaud, okay, after Arthur Rimbaud. When I wear Bob Kaufman's eyes, pillows become marbleized pillars of tiger's teeth. When I wear Bob Kaufman's eyes, polar bears drown in tar, singing raga dirges upon noxious fumes, stream green from their pointy ears. When I wear Bob Kaufman's eyes, homeless sheltered bunks swallow lonely children. By morning, only their skeletons are left chattering. When I wear Bob Kaufman's eyes, Hiroshima light bulbs pop around the globe in cut time to the signal SOS. And I was, as Alan pointed out, I was too scared to read this poem in front of the mayor when I was awarded the Poet Laureate. This is called Corpus Christi. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Booze laden, you flock maskless to your plastic-strewn fecal tides, awaiting the resurrection or erection while crucifying your land corpse. Your Klieg-lit benzene seepage flaring stacks of refinery desolation row spread like COVID-19 around the bay to wink a multitude of Baradur. Steel pipe plants shed black dust transforming Portland into Pompeii. Your croplands, floodplains, now saturated DDT and Roundup converted track housing. Your 50-year-old bridge you deemed unworkable. Indeed, the bigger cash-bound zebra mussel tankers cannot reach your oily pipeline wells. Port commission hires proven contract disaster. Floridian footbridge collapse kills 6. Idea blooms like your illiteracy and teenage pregnancy rates. A floating fuel dock at Bay's mouth. We guarantee no spillage, clean as a whistle. Cancerous, you watch loggerheads and green turtles bobbing empty shells that guide ships through holy genius surf. The latest commission brainstorm, desalinization. Desal plant on Harbor Island, a maximum of 97 million gallons of wastewater a day. Only a trifle. The aquifer mixed with Ford Eagle shale fracking chemicals, nearly Death Valley. But you, Corpus Christi, hand out millions of gallons of water with cash bonuses. and tax exemptions to any willing multinational corporation to ransack and pollute these once fertile lands. Your pocket payoff for war machinery, military madness, and their toxic dumps, erecting statues, planes, and cemetery pit plots, along with your proposed ginormous cross on I-37, where you will white robe nail as much of the land along with your AR-15 style accumulated blacks and Mexicans to those grotesque beings that greet the future in a channel reek of infested sludge.
Kspace is nice.
Kspace very nice. Kspace has been very, very good to me. Gosh, yeah, I have no good news almost here, right? I have at least one of them there, okay. So a couple other things involved with this. I took a lot of workshops and, recently because the university paid for it because they were online and things like that during the pandemic. So that was nice because they got to work with people around the country, actually out of the country and things. So, but one of the things too, I have like 3 poems that are directly related to or influenced by Woody Guthrie's music. This one's called Empty. Raked over coals, sun dropped stone cold. Day before yesterday's tin can still empty. Belly ache in a land of plenty. Penned in for living. Doing hard time, Lord. My heart's traveling remote. No control inside the porous cyclone fence, weary world. Tales of love without Kristeva, an open book of lies. Ode to joyless times starving, veggies and fruits rot on the vine. Words are wonders when they make one smile. Intonation can kill like a rattlesnake's bite. Veins burning, hearts exploding, more hard traveling in a loveless zone. America, get thee behind me. Gonna beg for a potato to eat tonight. And more about what's going on around here. Sacredness of life. Greed, money, and guns. They took what they could carry. Bellies painfully empty already. Someplace had to be better. Estados Unidos. El Norte, hermano y hermana. What was another river to cross? Begging all 1,400 miles of walk, chased by ice, no money, no food, no water, ripped and battered. Estados Unidos, no bueno. Hunkered under a mesquite tree, alone, no God, no burning bush, no talking snake. Solo quiero una oportunidad, fathomless that in Estados Unidos is greed, money, guns, and lies. This one's a little lighter, okay? So when I was younger, I was in Boy Scouts, and it was always great to get out of the house and go anywhere. But our camp was at Huntington Lake in the Sierra Nevada in California. And at 7,000 feet, Old Jada was the name of the camp. It's a Navajo word meaning moonlight on the water. And so when I was 17, 18, and 19, I was up there for 9 weeks of the summer. It was just like paradise. 17. Crossing Huntington Lake, the blue Bezota's wheel in hand, splish splash wake, accompanies engine roar. Coming around Girl Scout Island, Eureka! Spotting the Jeffrey pine, Oljedo pine, over 700 years old. Sky deep as the blue water, such a young age to shake loose Plato's chains. So that's I'm going to finish up here with one poem that I wrote after I got out of the hospital. And then I went almost like within 6 weeks or something, or 5 weeks, I went driving off to Oklahoma, then out to Atlanta, and read a couple places in Atlanta, in Oklahoma, and in Tennessee, and came back. This is called Where Does Love Go? Where does love go when the body dies? A question I ask as I drive through pitch nights. The turns, curves, and semi-trucks do not answer out loud unless their honks or curses are to lead me to that rest. If I bounce between here and there sporadically, though thousands of miles apart, what will I find when I realize that these questions are only stoppers in my mind? Can I unplug them gently? Can I patch up the holes? Whatever have I done to unfilter the craziness? That genie bottle, nothing compared to Pandora's insides. Desperation of hope, so muddy, ever so slippery, unable to grasp if one even had the hooks to try. Bolting as thunder claps across the road, ahead and behind. Here's another swallow of willful love, triple the dose. As mobile, as figurative, as the archer's arrow flies to strike me stone dead, I cannot, will not, shall not comply with anything but love. Thank you very much. A couple of announcements. Thank you so much to Michelle for very much. Books are for sale for all three of us and all. I do also want to announce that the 2023-2024 Corpus Christi Poet Laureate is in the room, Robin Carsonson. Thank you. Books, alcohol, water. Take your choice.
Thank you.
Yes,